Afghanistan, it's not the safest place you could be. At any moment, at any time, something could happen to you. Grenade! You could hear shots, like gunshots. A really close relative, the Taliban took him and they cut off his fingers. Everyone deserves to live in peace.
Afghanistan. For more than a decade, it's been plagued by conflict. It was against this backdrop of violent uncertainty that a young Samir Fatahzada grew up.
You don't know what's gonna happen to you. My mom was always worried about us.
Really, both Afghanistan is so good.
What was it like growing up in Afghanistan?
We had homeschooling because my mom thought it was safer than actually leaving the house.
No safe, no school, no money, no job.
Then, in 2007, things changed quickly and dramatically.
I was playing soccer during the day and I was very tired, so I went to nap. The next thing you know is my mom woke me up and told us it's time to go, so start packing. As we got to the airport, I was at like a lot of confusion. I didn't know where we're going. Somehow I ended up in a plane. I woke up and then we got here.
The Canadian government had granted refugee status to Samir's family. Home was now Scarborough, Ontario. A new country, a new culture.
At first, it's hard because you don't speak the language, you don't know anyone. You miss back home.
It took a familiar game to ease the transition.
Every time that I step on the field, you just forget about your history, your problems, everything negative. You just step on the field, you forget about everything and you play.
It's a massive part of going into a new country, into a new environment. If you can be involved in sport in any way, it helps the process, the assimilation. Especially if you get into a team format, you're amongst friends.
The kid from Kabul quickly showed that he was good. Really good.
Right off the bat, you could tell he has something special in him. This kid's a different level, you know, just in terms of the intensity that he plays with, the speed that he plays with. He is one of the best talents that I've ever been exposed to at 17 years old in my career.
Talent led to success. High school titles. A Canadian championship with Team Ontario. Pro tryouts in the German Bundesliga. And last year, the Canadian national team came calling. But Samir's refugee status stood in the way.
It's FIFA rules that in order to represent a country, you have to be a citizen.
So, you've got all these skills, but you can't play for Canada. Talk a little bit about how the Canadian Soccer Association got involved.
My coach told him that, well, this is the issue, so we're gonna need a letter of support.
I figured I would reach out to the Canadian Federation and we would write a letter on his behalf. Once he was able to present those letters of support, it really pushed the process along.
Soon, just 20 questions stood between Samir and his Canadian citizenship.
The test was pretty easy for me, I would say. I scored a 20 out of 20.
What's on the test?
There's questions based on Canadian history and Canada's greatest hockey player of all time, Wayne Gretzky. This is the moment I wanted. I wanted to become a citizen. Over here, if you want to become successful, you work for yourself, you study. It truly has been the best place.
I like Canada. I'm happy. I'm very happy. I'm come Canada. My children safe. I'm crying.
Welcome to your citizenship ceremony. You've each made a personal decision to come to Canada and to become a Canadian citizen. For some, the journey had been relatively easy. But for many, your journey had been more difficult. I swear that I will be faithful and fulfill my duties as a Canadian citizen.
Samir Ahmad Fatazada.
It's important for me to represent Canada because the things they have done for my family.
It's not surprising that if any way it can happen where you'd have an Afghan refugee turned Canadian citizen leading the country to World Cup qualification, it would be Canada.
There's no other way to repay them than do something good for the country, like play for the national team. And that'd be a great feeling, honestly.